Check it out. My mind has been blown once again. And if you want what I'm about to show you, you better pay attention. I just made a video and I just, this is my job. I got to do the work. And I just wanted to read more scripture for anyone who hasn't been with us that long and they haven't heard, seen what we've been reading and the understanding that we've been given on some of that scripture. But there really wasn't anything that, like every day, usually I have something that it's like a great new understanding of something. And really today, like I did realize, I thought, I didn't see it in the word. I just thought about what it meant for, what it meant by roasting the lamb at Passover. And I mentioned that in that last dream video. But, I've been reading some stuff that, was talking about dreams. But so when I made that video and I was waiting for it to upload, I look on Google right here and wait till you see what I'm going to show you. I look on Google and here's an article. And I just went on my feed, my Google news feed. And it was the top story right there on my news feed. It says 2,300-year-old grave in Israel, Isis Ra'el, contains remains of Greek courtesan who may have accompanied Alexander the Great's army. And let me tell you my thoughts, how this worked out. I seen the 2,300 first, and I thought something was up with that. And I seen the Greek, and I just had read, we've been reading, I just had read how, I think it was in Isaiah, wherever it was, he said, I'm going to stir up the sons of Sion against the sons of Greece. And I said, So I clicked on it and I was reading this article. Check it out. Human remains buried with a 2,300-year-old bronze mirror in Israel may be the first ever found of an ancient Greek courtesan who accompanied the Hellenistic armies on their campaigns. There it is. Newly discovered bronze mirror is decorated with a simple pattern of concentric circles. A roadside. Now check this out. What it says about this, and you tell me. Well, we'll talk about it when I get done reading it. A roadside burial discovered in Israel may hold the cremated remains of an ancient Greek courtesan who accompanied Alexander the Great's armies in their campaigns. The woman, who was buried with an ornate bronze mirror, was laid to rest 2,300 years ago on the road to Jerusalem. And now, just think about this. How could they know that? How come it wasn't 2,200 years ago? Or 2,000? How do they know it was 2,300? Watch. 2,300 years ago on the road to Jerusalem. On the road to Jerusalem. And far from any settlement suggesting she may have been a professional escort. She was a hoe. Or Hetaria, whatever that is. Traveling with military men. The first discovery of its kind. They found a mirror, y'all, and a couple other things. So check it out. First discovery of its kind. Archaeologists said in a statement shared with Live Science. It is most likely that this is the tomb of a woman of Greek origin. There you go. It's most likely But did you see how it was explaining it in the first, in the headlines, and in the first three paragraphs? But now it is most likely that this is the tomb of a woman of Greek origin who accompanied a senior member of the Hellenistic army or government. The researcher said in a statement. Her client may have fought one of Alexander the Great's campaigns, fought in one of the Alexander the Great's campaigns, they added, or in a series of conflicts called the Wars of the Didachi, which saw Alexander's generals battle to succeed him after he died in what year? 323 BC. The woman was 20 to 30 years old. Really? 20 to 30 years old. 2300. 323. That's just coincidence, isn't it? That's how the woman was 20 to 30 years old when she died. How do they know that? How? Researchers told the Israeli newspaper. And her remains indicate she was cremated. What? Before being buried alongside a very precious bronze mirror and 4 iron nails, y'all. 4. Why? How do they know this if she's been cremated? They can't know this. But I'm so glad that I came and seen this article, and I think it's a signal. I've been saying this whole time since 2017, I've seen things, how, I used to say it for anyone that's been around since then. I don't know if there is any of you still listening, but how these people communicate, and whoever they are, they communicate with one another like the bat signal. Like they make a headline, or they show something in the news, and that is how they know. What they talk to each other. I've been saying this. But just think about that. A bronze mirror and 4 iron nails. The mirror is enclosed in a folding box of a type previously found in Greco-Hellenistic burials, hinting at the woman's Greek origin. While these accessories often feature engravings or reliefs of idolized female and goddess figures, the newly discovered object is decorated on the outside with a simple pattern of dumbass circles. This is only the second mirror of this type that has been discovered to date in Israel. Liat Oz, an archaeologist who led the recent excavation in Jerusalem's Talpiot neighborhood on behalf of the Israel Antiquities Authority, said in the statement. She may have received a gift from her powerful client, the researcher said. Now, how would they know that? I mean, these guys, they're all about it, ain't they? But see, now for some of you, those of you who remember, all the stuff I've showed you that they found over here, what do they say every time they find something? They say it's a hoax, this isn't real. But all these articles, they tell you, like they know. They'll say 2,300 years ago. It could be 30 years old. From 323. They don't know this. They may have received, this is a gift. Women also acquired bronze mirrors as part of their dowry, but married women at that time seldom left their homes in Greece. See, now, think about what this is saying right here, okay? They said she's a hoe. They're talking about married women at that time stayed home. And later, let alone join their husbands on military campaigns. Historic records indicate courtesans were present during Alexander the Great's campaigns. The researchers told whoever. They provided, but also literate and entertained their clients with poetry, dancing, and acting performances. poetry, and entertainment. We know that some join generals or rulers on their campaigns. Famously, the whatever, I think that might have been the last, no, right here. The iron nails. Let's read that top blue part there. Medieval girl buried face down with bound ankles, likely so she couldn't return from the grave. Now, I wouldn't speculate on, this is all speculation with this article right here. And I wouldn't have brought it to you and just to speculate over this article because there's really no proof of anything. But what it led me to is all the proof you're going to need. She was buried face down. Oops, where'd we go? Face down with a nail hole in her skull. Iron Age warrior woman was buried with a sword and a mirror. Iron nails discovered in the roadside grave were likely credited with magical powers, he added, such as warding off the evil eye and preventing the deceased from rising again. Yeah, the lady that I know that this is talking about, she's not going to rise again. Watch and see. So, I went to where it's at, and I looked up bronze mirror. Let me show you. Bronze mirror I typed in, and iron nails. I typed in bronze mirror, just like this. And I came right here and looked at Exodus chapter 38, and he made the basin of bronze and its stand of bronze from the bronze mirrors of the serving women who did service, where? At the door of the tent of appointment. Why didn't they mention that? Why? How is it that there's no way that it could be one of them if that's the true set apart land, right? And it's right outside of Jerusalem. Why? There's no mention of that in that article, is there? It's all from the Hellenistic, from the magical people crap. And I've been talking about the Hellenistic crap this whole time, almost, a lot of times. So it represents the door of appointment and women serving women. So then I went and I typed in iron nails. What do we get here? Chronicles. And Daud prepared large quantities of iron for the nails of the doors of the gates. For the gates. This was for the slaughter place of ascending Mishpachah. So, where that led me to was right here, chapter 7 in Daniel. And I'm going to get it all, but I want to show you where it brought me to. Let's see. I don't think it was that far down here. I guess I did pass it. So it brought me right here to Daniel chapter 7, verse 19. Then I desired for certainty concerning the fourth beast, which was different from all others, very fearsome, with its teeth of iron and its nails of bronze, which devoured, crushed, and trampled down the rest with its feet. Now, you probably think that that's of no significance, right? And I just wasn't too long ago, not even a month ago, I told y'all that I tried to, that the truth of the image of the beast was in Daniel, and that it's a tough cookie. Remember me saying that? And I tried to dig into it. I saw that it was in there, but for me to explain it, it would have been impossible, and I only got just a little bit of it. I mean, this whole book of Daniel, a lot of it I haven't went through it like we've went through Ezekiel and Jeremiah and Isaiah and Zechariah and all that stuff. I haven't did it. But watch this. I'll just go down. We ain't even got to go back up, but we can tomorrow, whatever. Watch this. And concerning the 10 horns that were on its head, and of the other horn that came up before which 3 fell, this horn which had eyes and a mouth, which spoke great words, whose appearance was greater than his fellows. I was looking, and this horn was fighting against the set-apart ones, and prevailing against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and right ruling was given to the set-apart ones of the Most High. And the time came, and the set-apart ones took possession of the reign. There's no coincidence that they made that article with the iron nails and the bronze mirror. Trust me, there's not. This is what he said. The fourth beast is the fourth reign on earth, which is different from all other reigns, and it devours all the earth, tramples it down, and crushes it. That's not talking about crushing people, the earth. And the 10 horns are 10 sovereigns from this reign. They shall rise, and another shall rise after them, and it is different from the first ones, and it humbles 3 sovereigns. And it speaks words against the Most High. And it wears out the set-apart ones of the Most High. And it intends to change appointed times. Now, somewhere else we've read it changes the times and the seasons and the set-apart days or whatever. The appointed times is the feast days. And the feast days are to be spent in Jerusalem. So he would either have to change the dates or what you do during the feast times, or where you meet at the appointed times, and law, and they are given into its hand for a time, times, and a half a time. 3.5 years, 42 months. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away its rule, to cut off and to destroy until the end. And the reign and the rulership and the greatness of the reigns under all the heavens shall be given to the people, the set-apart ones of the Most High. His reign is an everlasting reign, and all rulership shall serve him and obey him. This is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my thoughts greatly alarmed me, and my color changed, and I kept the matter in my heart. Which I've done. And there's some stuff that I'm going to show you that I've kept some stuff, but there's something that I forgot to show you today that I found last night. And yeah. So in chapter 8 it says, in the 3rd year of the reign of Belteshazzar, the sovereign, a vision appeared to me, Daniel, and after the one that appeared to me the first time. Hold on a second. Okay. And I looked in the vision, and it came to be while I was looking that I was in the citadel of Shushan. And see, all this is explained. We've read about how the kingdom would go to Shushan And we read about Elam and all that in the prophets. And I looked in the vision, and I was by the river Uliah. And I lifted my eyes and looked and saw a ram standing beside the river. And it had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, and the one was higher than the other, and the higher one came up last. One was higher than the other. Just keep that in mind. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast could stand before him, and there was no one to deliver from his hand. Notice it didn't say eastward. It said westward, northward, and southward. It didn't say east. And there was no one to deliver from his hand while he did as he pleased and became great. And I was observing and saw a male goat. Remember, the Messiah said he's going to judge between rams and goats. And a male goat come from the west over the surface of all the earth without touching the ground. And the goat had a conspicuous horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing beside the river, and ran at him in the rage of his power. And I saw him come close to the ram, and he became embittered against him and struck the ram and broke his 2 horns, and there was no power in the ram to withstand him. But he threw him down to the ground and trampled on him, and there was no one to deliver the ram from his hand. And the male goat became very great, but when he was strong, the large horn was broken, and in place of it 4 conspicuous ones came up toward the 4 winds of the heavens. And from one of them came a little horn which became exceedingly great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the splendid land. That's west. And it became great up to the host of the heavens, and it caused some of the host and some of the stars to fall to the earth, and trampled them down. It even exalted itself as high as the prince of the host. And remember, I've been telling you, the story of Jesus, it came from Jerusalem. Why do you think so many people go to Jerusalem on them Holy Land tours every year? They go over there. They think they're getting baptized in the Jordan. They go there and cry and think about Jesus. Yes, they do. And it took that which is continual away from him and threw down the foundation of his set-apart place. That which is continual, like I've told you, is the feast days, the set-apart place. That's why it says, and threw down the foundation of the set-apart place. And because of transgression, an army was given to the horn to oppose that which is continual. And it's more than just the feast days. It's the throne. It's where the throne sits, and the feast days you're supposed to travel there and do. You know what I mean? That's what all that is. You know, don't get it twisted and think that I meant, because I meant to say, you know, the whole package of being in the set-apart land. It's not just the feast days, but it's all included. And it threw the truth down to the ground, and it acted and prospered. There you go. That's all you should have needed to know right there. What this Daniel's talking about. Because it talks about the abomination that lays waste. It says that it takes away that which is continual. And then I heard a certain set apart one speaking, and another set apart one said to that certain one who was speaking, "Till when is the vision concerning that which is continual, and the transgression that lays waste, to make both the set apart place and the host to be trampled underfoot?" Do you see? And see, if somebody just come in and read verse 10 or verse 13, excuse me, they might say, well, yeah, that's when, you know, Babylon went in there and tore it down. No, it says right back up there, and it threw the truth down to the ground. And it says up till the end, the last chapter, chapter 7, at the very end, it says to the end. That rules out that Isis Ra'el. That Isis Ra'el is the transgression that lays waste. And he said to me, for 2,300 nights, 2,300 nights, then that which is set apart, you doing a little dance, shall be made right. Hallelujah. I told you, that article, that's a signal. And, you know, like I told you, the word has been telling us that Babylon the destroyer and the the sovereign of Ashur, Satan, they're in the hand of the Most High. So if the Most High wants an article made, it will be made. Or it's the rules of engagement. Either way, he uses them, and they have rules to go by. Either way, that article was letting us know what's about to go down. The truth of that is about to go down. And you want to hear something really strange that my son told me tonight? He said that he had a dream last night that my mom showed up here out of the blue. And he said he seen her coming down a set of spiral stairs. Yeah. For those of you who know what I've talked about, what I said my mom does and what she's a fan of. And if you remember what the spiral stairs is about, you know, I'm not holding my breath, but that gives me a little bit of relief, you know. So seeing that article, and then I came and read this. When I seen this, I couldn't believe it. Well, I can, because this is what the Most High has been given to me. This, you know, this kind of truth is, you know, I can't tell you. I can tell you one thing for sure that I've been doing, and I've been given all esteem. Have I been perfect? None of us are perfect. And anyone who would come and say, well, there's no way, and there's been a lot that's done this. There's no way you could get the truth. You can't even have a relationship with the Most High because blah, blah, blah. Well, that right there, you know what I mean? Just the fact that they're looking down their nose at someone, you know, and that's how it is. That's what the Pharisees and Sadducees did to Messiah. That's why they said he couldn't be who he was, because they had their heads stuck in the clouds, and they were too worried about them getting to be the one to do something. And I'm not, I'm happy that I'm seeing this truth. And that's another reason why I get on the horn. I get on the horn because I want to share it with you, but I could care less about me being the one to tell you. I don't care. I would rather you get told, and then we could all know the truth together. That's what I would prefer. But if anyone would ever ask me, like, what, you know, why do you think the Most High give you this truth? Well, I know in the beginning, like back when before the lockdown happened, I've told this story before. I was one of those people, pretty much. I've never been like a jerk, but I can remember feeling like there wasn't nothing that I did that could be offensive to the Most High. I was thinking, you know, for like a couple weeks right before this one thing happened, I was thinking like, yeah, I do this and I do that and I do this, and my head was starting to get big, I remember. And then all of a sudden, I felt one day, I was like, man, and it just something, I can't tell you what it was, but I just felt like I needed to ask the Most High if there was something. And I thought that there was nothing really that I was doing that was a sin. And I asked the Most High what it was I was doing at about 10 a.m. in the morning. And before I went to sleep that night, I knew for sure that I had to stop eating the blood with the meat. And I did that. I've stopped doing that. And that's one thing I can tell you. And you can look and find it in His Word. You will be prohibited from a lot of things if you can't put down the meat like that, the blood. And you can eat the meat, but you got to boil it. But everyone in the world right now, if they're not vegans or something, most people are like monsters, you know. I have so many people, believers, they sit and mock me and stuff, and they'll sit and eat it in front of me and like lick their lips, and you know, and it's disgusting when you realize what it truly means to do that. You're a monster if you see what the Most High tells you about that meat, and that He put the blood. It's the blood of the life of the animal, and because you think that you have to have meat every day, you take part in the murder of a creature, however you want to look at that, but that's the case. You sacrifice that creature. It's a sacrifice. And see, this is the problem. This is another example of how these people, the world, are confused with what words mean. A sacrifice, it would be no different than me saying I had to sacrifice my like we've been talking about, you got to sacrifice some things. Like that lady, she sacrificed the flask of cologne. You got to sacrifice some things. An animal's alive. And now because you want lunch, that animal's life had to get sacrificed. And you didn't even bother to do it the way the Most High told you, by boiling, seething, or soddening the meat to get the blood out. These people don't care. They lather their lips, and it's all through His Word. The Most High says they will be punished for it. I mean, you can prove me wrong, but you ain't going to be able to. And so I know I did that. And I know I stopped saying the name Jesus and Lord and God when I'm to give any reference to. The only time I try to speak them now is when I'm rubbing them in the mud. And I try to do that to the best of my ability. It's not like magic. If you say the word, you're going to get smoked, off the face of the earth. No. But if you ain't got enough esteem for the Most High and respect and His Son to stop calling by them names, we've learned about it in Ezekiel. It puts a wall between you and the Most High. That's what He says. He says, they put a wall between me and them, and it has the sons of the Kasdim on it. And if you do enough research, you'll figure out that the story of Zeus and all that comes from the Kasdim. It's Babylon. So, however you want to, that's the truth. So, that's probably why that's how I began some of, my journey. I know for a fact, from what the Word has told me, that I would have never got here if I wouldn't have put down those things. So, and that's it. And I've been hungry for the Word. And, don't be surprised if all Isis Ra'el comes a-tumbling down pretty soon. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you more proof. I'm going to show you proof, though, as to why that is probably going to happen. Right there. Because He said to me, for 2,300 nights, then that which is set apart shall be made right. And it came to be, when I, Daniel, had seen the vision, that I saw understanding, and see, before me stood one having the appearance of a mighty man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Uah, who called and said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. Then he came near where I stood, and when he came, I feared, and I fell on my face. But he said to me, understand, son of man, the vision is for the time of the end, when the set-apart place would be made right. And as he was speaking with me, I fell stunned upon my face to the ground, and he touched me and made me stand up straight. and said, look, I am making known to you what shall take place in the latter time of the wrath, for at the appointed time shall be the end. Now, Mishpachah, this is speculation, but it's based off of what we've been learning. If it's at the appointed time, if the end is at the appointed time, what appointed time, feast day, would you guess it would be? I mean, it's obvious, right? That it would be at Passover. What comes at Passover next year? On 2024, what happens? The eclipse. Yeah. And I've been saying since 2017, the end of 2017, from the first eclipse, that was the beginning of the tribulation, the great distress. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, that's speculation. No one knows. But if we just saw that the set apart place, that which is continual, will be made right. And it had the numbers 2300 on it to deal with it. And the year right now it's 23. And all that stuff we just read in that article with the nails in the mirror, the bronze and the iron, and the whore that had the nail through the head of her, the skull. And how did they even know it was through her skull if she was cremated? You see what I'm saying? And then now, I got more than that, though, to even pound it all the way home for you guys. The ram which you saw having 2 horns and are the sovereigns of Media and Persia. And the male goat is the sovereign of Greece, and the large horn between its eyes is the first sovereign. And that it was broken, and 4 stood up in its place, are 4 rulerships arising out of that nation, but not in its power. Now, one thing you need to understand, a lot of times, maybe even all the time, but a lot of times when the word says sovereign, it's not a king like most people think. It's a religion. It's some kind of a religion, or like a god that's in the head of a religion. And that's why it has a distinction when it says the rulership. That's talking about a king or some kind of president, whatever. And in the latter time of their rule, when the transgressors have filled up their measure, a sovereign, fierce of face and skilled at intrigue shall stand up, a sovereign, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy incredibly, and shall prosper and thrive, and destroy mighty men and the set apart people. And through his skill he should make deceit prosper in his hand, and hold himself to be great in his heart, and destroy many who are at ease, and even stand against the prince of princes. Yet without hand he shall be broken. And what was said in the vision of the evening and morning is truth, and hide the vision, for it is after many days. And I, Daniel, was stricken and became sick for days. Then I rose up and went about the sovereign's work, and I was amazed at the vision, but there was no understanding. Can you imagine what Daniel thought when he saw the fake Jerusalem and everything about it? And Ezekiel saw it too. It was the image of jealousy standing in the gate. Yeah. I couldn't imagine, because they probably, like Daniel, he just mourned. He wanted Abba, like he prayed that Abba would heal the land and bring the people back and stuff. And then he sees that this wicked thing was about to come upon the earth in the end times. I'm sure he never thought that. I'm sure it blowed his mind. Well, you see, it made him sick. He didn't even know what to do. And look, just as much, this is the problem, see? If you can't, what I'm saying right now, it's going to piss so many people. It already has. But I'm sure someone will just turn this on one day and be listening to it, and then they'll hear what I just said, and they'll get highly butthurt about it. And it would be the same way with these Christians when I talk about the name Jesus. They get their vampire fangs come out when they hear that, and they would really like to murder you. I mean, I've seen a lot of violence come from that little deal. So if you can't stop, if you're looking at that place as being true, you are wrong. The wrong are those who perish. It's just a fact. And it says more. It just says it lets us know where your head is, where your mind is, who's on your mind. Because now that I told you that, if you're someone that's never heard this before, if you think that the name of the Most High is on your forehead, and you just heard that, you know what someone would do that has his name on their forehead that heard that? They would do all they could to find the truth. Go look. And when you go looking, you're going to find all the truth you need. It's everywhere. I've been making all my videos for a long time now, for a while. At least. I've been showing, been talking about coming home for a while, and I've realized that the image of the beast was for like the last 10 videos, 50, whatever, something like that, 10, 15 videos talking about it. So, and I lay plenty of evidence out for it, but I'm sure there's plenty more out there that you could go find yourself. And I pray that you find it. Now here's some more evidence here for you. Oh, and really, if you really do want to find the truth, the word's where it's at. All the prophets. The prophets are all about what I just said. The two witnesses witness about what I just said. The Key of David is about coming home and finding what I just said. The flag on the place over there, it's all about, it's two triangles. It's one triangle looking at itself in the mirror. It's called the hexagram or sexagram. It's a hex. And number 56 of the hex, oh, that reminds me, number 56 of the hex is all about the stranger, the wanderer, stranger things, the upside down. I mean, I could go on and on. But one thing I forgot to mention here a while back was I seen a headline that said Sinead O'Connor died this year at 56. And I just went and looked at her for a few minutes. And I seen she had a song called Jerusalem. And then I seen one said Mandika. It was called Mandika. And I watched the video of it. And it shows the image of the beast in there. It shows a white man and a black man with their shirts off. And they're standing beside each other to look like they're identical. But one's white, one's black. And the white one has a baby. And it turns around and hands the black one the baby. And then if you look at the Mandika, where that word Mandika comes from is from the series Roots. Roots. Think about it. And I read the plot for Roots. And see, this is what you got to do. You get to find the truth. You got to really dig. It's like finding a pearl, the great pearl. Well, that guy, the main character in Roots, I guess I think the word Mandika is his native language, I think. And the reason it's called Roots is because he wanted to find out where he came from, and he didn't know. And so that the song that she sang, Mandika, is all about not knowing who you are and going on a quest to find out your roots and where your home is, your origin. That's what it's all about. And she died at 56. And the 56 hexagram is about the wanderer, the lodger, and I read plenty about it in those some of my videos, and that's exactly what it's about. It says in there that the wanderer or the stranger who if he stays in the place where he is now too long, he learns its ways too good, he forgets his place of origin. And it says the only way to come back home is you have to realize the place of your origin isn't what you think it is. And only till then can you turn around and start to search for your home in order to end up home. Yep. But look at this. 42, the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is 42. This is in the this is from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Check this out. So, let me see. In the radio series and the first novel, a group of hyper-intelligent pan-dimensional beings demand to learn the answer to the universe, or to learn the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. From the supercomputer Deep Thought, specially built for this purpose. It takes Deep Thought 7.5 million years to compute and check the answer, which turns out to be 42. Oops. And so in the story, they want to know the answer to everything, and they get this supercomputer and they asked it, and it says it's 42. But then look right here. Arthur pulls random letters from a bag, but only gets the sentence, what do you get if you multiply 6 by 9? And see, they say 6 by 9 equals 42, but it don't. We know that it don't. But why does it say 6 by 9? The reason it says 6 by 9, it is like a yin-yang sign. The 6 is like this and the 9's like that. That's why on a lot of movies, metaphysical movies, you'll see the number 69. It's as above, so below. That's why the floors in the Masonic temples are black and white checker. That's why when I read earlier from that Alice in the Wonderland thing, she had the white kitty and the black kitty right before she went through the mirror. It's all that, like I said, whoever writes this, and like I said, I'm pretty sure I know who writes all this stuff. They know exactly what time it is. I always thought something was fundamentally wrong with the universe. This final line appears in some, but not all editions of the work. Let's see. Narrator. There is a theory which states that if anyone discovers, here you go, if anyone discovers exactly what the universe is for and why it is here, it will instantly disappear and be replaced by something even more bizarre and inexplicable. There is another theory mentioned which states that this has already happened. Now, this is fiction. They don't put the exact truth in there. It's not going to disappear. But what is going to disappear is this false reality that everyone's been living in. And that's another reason why they're going to weep. It talks about it in Scripture. It says when they see it, they see Babylon for what it is, and they come home, they're going to weep all the way home. They're going to feel ashamed. Can you imagine? And that was another thing. Blake said that, my son, said that my mom was like real sad looking in the dream. So, and the spiral stairs, I'll tell you, just in case you forgot, don't remember, in the movie Seven Splinters in Time, where the white and black checker floor is, he keeps running up and down the spiral stairs. In the poem book from Yeats, The Tower, the Far Tower, it shows the spiral stair in it. And that has something to do with like the false reality. So, and then that was just in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and there's a bunch of more stuff about what I'm talking about in that plot or whatever for the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is from Alice in the Wonderland, and it was like another chapter or whatever called Haddock's Eyes. Check it out. It is the nickname of the name of a song sung by the White Knight from Lewis Carroll's 1871 novel Through the Looking Glass. Haddock's eyes is an example used to elaborate on the symbolic status of the concept of name. A name as identification marker may be assigned to anything, including another name, thus introducing different levels of symbolization. It has been discussed in several works and on logic and philosophy. Here's this song, okay, that is in that Haddock's eyes. A song. You are sad, the knight said in an anxious tone. Let me sing you a song to comfort you. It is very long. Is it very long? Alice asked, for she had heard a good deal of poetry that day. It's long, said the knight, but very, very beautiful. Everybody that hears me sing it, either it brings them the tears into their eyes, or else what? Said Alice. For the knight had made a sudden pause. Or else it doesn't, the name of the song is called Haddock's Eyes. Or that's the name of the song, is it? Alice said, trying to feel interested. No, you don't understand, the knight said, looking a little vexed. That's what the name is called. The name really is The Aged Man. Then I thought to have said that's what the song is called, Alice corrected herself. No, you oughtn't. That's quite another thing. The song is called Ways and Means. But that's only what it's called, Well, what is the song then? Said Alice, who was this time completely bewildered. I was coming to that, the knight said. The song really is a sitting on a gate, and the tune's my own invention. Yep, and there's all kinds more too in them stories about all this stuff, sitting on the gate. And this is the Jabberwocky that I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to kind of show you what it is. It's a creature here, and the book tells of Alice's adventures within the back-to-front world, looking glass world. In an early scene in which she first encounters the chess piece characters White King and White Queen, Alice finds a book written in seemingly unintelligible language. Realizing that she is traveling through an inverted world, she recognizes that the verses on the pages are written in mere writing. See? I've been telling you guys about the 24 and the 42. That's what it is. She holds a mirror to one of the poems and reads the reflected verse of Jabberwocky. And in this story, the Jabberwocky, I don't know if I saved that picture or not, but in the Jabberwocky, it says there's only one thing that can kill it, and it's like the Volor sword or something. And as soon as you read it, you'll know exactly what that represents. Now, this is another chapter 2. It says the Garden of Live Flowers. Upon leaving the house where it has been a cold, snowy night, she enters a sunny spring garden where the flowers can speak. They perceive Alice as being a flower that can move about elsewhere in the garden. So, if you watch the Little Shop of Horrors with the flower that speaks, that was what, like when I first seen that, I realized, that's when I first started to realize what the image of the beast was. The flower in that movie, it represents the image of the beast. Yeah. And how I seen that, I really don't know. Like, that was just crazy. I still wonder this day how I caught that, but I caught it. And then once I dug into it, yep, for sure, it is the image of the beast. So, and I don't think I say any, in the titles of any of my videos, I mention the Little Shop of Horrors. I don't think. But I think I talk about it in the A Lion Roars, Who Has Heard or something video, and maybe the Key of David one. I'm not for sure. But back in some of those, you'll see it. You'll find it. And then just go watch some of it. But, yeah. And that story right there talks about what I just said, what we just read about how everything's going to come into light. Because the on September 23rd is when he buys the flower, and there's an unexpected eclipse happens. And when he's walking by this Chinese flower shop, the flower ain't there. He looks up and sees the unexpected eclipse, and he turns around and the flower's there. And he says, I could have sworn it wasn't there before. And all of a sudden it was. And she calls herself the Mean Green Mother from outer space. And there's a lot of stuff in here that will let you know why it's called green, why she called herself green. And mother. I've went through all kinds of it. And I'm not going to go through it all again. Go back and watch my videos. And I'm sure we'll find more of it too. Yeah. But that's all for tonight. I love y'all. And you know what, Mishpaka? I mean, there's no excuse now. For anyone who's heard this, there's no excuse. If you still want to say those names, man, it was bad enough before, but if you still, you know what they say that is, you know, I've always said I don't tickle ears. I do a spinning roundhouse and drop kick you in your ear. And usually you walk away holding it, grimacing when I get done. And sometimes, you know, it's unintended. But right now I'm going to intentionally do that to you because I love you. I'm not here to, you don't want anyone to tickle your ears. Well, most people do, but in reality, you don't. You need someone to tell you, you know, something that you don't want to hear. And I know there's some of you that still want to use those names because I know. Well, I'm telling you right now, after you've heard this, if you continue to use those names, you know what that means? It's called a stiff neck and a head like an iron sinew. That means you refuse to take correction. Most people, they don't want correction nowadays. They want affection. They just want to be told it's okay. And all through the word, he tells you that that's what's going to kill you. That someone needs to tell you that it's not okay. And that's what you need to be told. And you need to take heed. Stop calling him by blasphemous names, him and the son. Stop looking over there at that blasphemous place. It's called blaspheming his tent. Denounce it today. And get on the road. Sing a little song. Do a little dance. Come up out the trance. I'll see you tomorrow. Abba willing. If he decides to once again provide that filling.